There's an old joke about a priest, a minister, and a rabbi who were sitting around and having a drink. The subject of the beginning of life came up. When does life begin? The priest was adamant. He said, life begins at conception. The minister responded and said, no, my friend, life begins at the birth of a child. The rabbi smiled and looked at the two and said, I don't think so. You want to know when life begins? When your last child moves out of the house and the dog dies. I think that our society mirrors the rabbi's philosophy. We're a society that focuses on retirement. It seems to be the goal of everything. When can I finally retire? If you need any proof of that, look at Google. Just simply type in the word retirement. You'll find that there are 72 million possible sites to think about all aspects of retirement, from housing to financial planning and everything in between. We are a society that thinks deeply about retirement. But the question might be, not when does life begin, but how do we define a meaningful life? And that's a question for every age, including retirement. Look, all of us need to take a break at some point in our lives. All of us deserve to stop the 9-to-5 grind. All of us deserve time to relax. But is the goal of life to simply hit golf balls and have drinks with friends? All of us can make contributions to the larger world in retirement. And that's a lesson that our father Jacob teaches us in this week's portion. We know a lot about Jacob's life at this point, and we know that it's been a difficult life. In last week's parashah, he finally makes peace with Esau, and now he is back in the land of Israel, older, with a large family. And the portion begins, Vayeshev Yaakov, and Jacob settled down. Rashi, our great exegete, asked, does Jacob really think that he's going to settle down? Does he really think that he's going to retire? And of course, the answer is no. There is no retirement in this world for doing good deeds, for making a difference. And that's really the story of the end of Jacob's life. And it's not an easy story. Joseph, as you know, was thrown into a pit. He's sold to the Ishmaelites. He ends up in a jail in Egypt, and he is separated from his father for many, many years. But the story of Jacob is also about a man who kept his family together. It's a story of a man who kept the covenant alive. It's a story of a man who continued to believe in spite of life's vicissitudes. Jacob is a role model as to how one can retire and live a life of meaning. It's of interest to us that the word Vayeshev appears in another place in the book of Genesis. Vayeshev Esau. When recounting the lineage of Jacob's brother Esau, the Torah says, and Esau settled down. The fact is that we never hear about him again. Now maybe he spent his remaining years hunting and doing the equivalent of playing golf. We'll never know. Because he didn't do anything worthy of note. He didn't continue to make a difference. In a society, in a time when we focus so much on stopping our workaday lives and retiring, let us remember the example of Jacob, a man who continued to move the covenant forward, continued to make a difference to the last day of his life. Shabbat Shalom.